Hi, and welcome to our SMB Grow Chat. Today, we'll talk about how to start, grow, and succeed online. This is Galina from the SiteGround team, and together with my colleague Wilkins, we'll host this chat for you. Joining us will be our special guests and experts. Syed Balkhi, entrepreneur, investor, SEO, and the guy behind WP Beginner. Cal Evans, e-commerce expert and internet entrepreneur. Aleyda Solis, international SEO consultant and entrepreneur. And our very own José Ramón, country manager of SiteGround Spain. We'll cover everything from the first steps of getting online to marketing and scaling your online business, measuring performance, and more. We've prepared a bunch of exciting questions for our experts. And if you have your questions on your own, you could tweet them using the SMB Growth Chat hashtag. We'll also post the recording on Twitter, so make sure you follow SiteGround and listen to it. So, without further ado, let's kick off the conversation with the first question. So, what are the essential steps to starting an online business? Aleyda, let's start with you.
I can't really hear Aleyda.
Yeah, I think Aleyda's having some issues with the mic, might be.
Hello there. I just joined, so I couldn't hear the question. Sorry.
Hi, let me repeat that. Thanks for joining us.
I didn't hear the question. Yeah. Hello.
What do you think are the first essential steps to starting an online business?
A website. A website is essential. Then model you want a content form, whatever. Of course, if you provide us more, let's say, website builders now that even allow you to not beyond enabling a contact form to enable a way to set appointments, for example. And then also we have many more website builders that allow you to integrate or to generate easily an online store too. So I'll say that the building block, main pillar of your online business should be your website.
Great. And anyone else want to add something? Syed, what do you think about this topic?
Yeah, I mean, I think tactically, of course, a website is needed, but I believe even before that, the very first essential step is you have to know your target market and have a very clear value proposition. So a lot of times people are just thinking about website ideas. You have to make sure that you have a clear value proposition. In my mind, the most important thing for a business is knowing who your customers are and how you can get that customer. And after that, you come up with the domain and website idea.
Great, definitely. It's essential to know your customers and have your idea defined. And Cal, do you have anything to add?
Yep. Register a domain name. Before you can build your website, you got to have that. No, I'm kidding. I always start with a mailing list, and that actually adds on to Saeed's idea. I start building a mailing list of people that are interested in what I might be interested in selling or the services I might have, and start seeing if I've got a product market fit. Because if I don't have something that people are interested in, it's not going to do much good.
Anything to add?
Yep. Register a domain name. Before you can build your website, you got to have that. No, I'm kidding. I always start with a mailing list, and that actually adds on to Saeed's idea. I start building a mailing list of people that are interested in what I might be interested in selling or the services I might have, and start seeing if I've got a product market fit. Because if I don't have something that people are interested in, it's not going to do much good. And I can build a mailing list, for free these days using tools like MailerLite. So, that's the cheap way to do it. And once I know I've got something, and then I, of course, register a domain name, register my Twitter account, register my Instagram account, and then start building.
Great. I believe that was very helpful. I think that starting with the domain name is like basically the first step that you need to take. And Jose, Moncho, do you have a take on the matter?
Yes, I have. Hello, everyone. Well, I can go even before these steps because we saw in 2020 a lot of new businesses starting online that are disappear during 2021 or 2022. So maybe they didn't have a business plan, a certain budget resources for their project on a short, medium, or long term. Maybe they didn't have a real knowledge of their competitors, so they need to make sure they know what others are doing better or worse. Maybe they should build a marketing strategy that includes, of course, a website, a good domain name, of course, and I'm building, for example, a customer experience around the product or the service they want to sell. And taking into account what happened during these last 2 years, maybe they should think in a question of balance between the different parts of the budget. I really mean it because I see many people leaving a small amount of the budget for sections so important like SEO, the strategy, or the hosting services, for example. So I think it's deeper. Of course, website, domain name are mandatory. But I also recommend these points just to avoid incidents in the medium term.
Yeah, I mean, an online business is a business too. So I guess that when I say a domain, I assume that that there was a proper business already behind. So you definitely need to have a unique select proposition. You need to have a business plan and a real product that differentiates and provides value, and to have already evaluated and identify a relevant target market that really needs the product or service that you're looking to provide, right? So I guess I do agree with all of that, but I guess that that is something that any business, independently if it is online or offline, should already have in any case. Yeah.
I definitely agree, guys. And following for the next question, now we have our target market, we have our domain name, we have our social media probably set up. But which website building app do you guys recommend for a small business to work with? And again, Aleyda, if you want to start answering this
Yes, of course.
question.
I guess it depends on your own capabilities and what are the functionalities on one hand that you want that you need to provide your service or your product on one hand, and then on your own capabilities. Maybe the business owner itself is a web developer, right? Or has a technical capacity. Maybe there are resources already for them to develop their web even from scratch, right? And that is okay. Maybe they want to make the most out of the wealth of opportunities that WordPress, for example, can provide. And it is doable for them to hire someone even that they trust to develop site based on WordPress, for example. That is like I will say like probably the most popular option out there at this point. But then also we have business owners who are not technical at all, that don't have the capacity to do so, and you can very well also leverage builders that are now more and more popular, that can highly facilitate that. So, for example, Wix or even Shopify, or even now MailChimp. Like that there's this, let's say, wave of new website builders. And what is important here, I would say, is that they double check and validate that what they need for the core business, the functionalities that are required for them are there on one hand, and it is easy for them to use, that they can start operating right like as soon as possible, which is what is actually needed and important in order to make money out of your online business, right? So I will say to definitely assess these options, because a lot of people say, oh, like maybe with WordPress you have more flexibility, more options, whatever. But then realistically, not that many business owners will even be able to do so. Even I would say many business owners can even start profiting from already existing marketplaces. So for example, even Etsy, right? To start like even selling right away if they are like selling goods or right even before publishing their own web stores, and then can also validate and assess a little bit the markets with it. So that's like there's definitely not a bulletproof approach here. It is important that you assess based on your own needs and then your own capabilities, of course.
Right. I believe that there is no one fits all in this case. So definitely knowing what you can do as a technical person and what you need for your business is essential. Syed, what do you think?
I think when someone is starting out, they often run into choice paralysis because they read a blog post or they see a video and an expert goes in and says, it really depends. And when somebody's starting out, they don't know any better. And I've been an avid user of WordPress since 2006. So, of course, I recommend that. 43% of the web uses it, including SMBs, including developers, including entrepreneurs. So, if I was starting any business, and I would almost always pick WordPress, just because of the freedom it provides, the extension ecosystem. There's 59,000 WordPress plugins. You have great hosts like SiteGround. This is what we use on WP Beginner and Automotive. So yeah, if you ask me which website building app you recommend for small business, almost always WordPress.
Yeah, but I agree. I think WordPress was probably that tool that everyone that started having a blog in 2010 or late 2000s, it was the tool that everyone used, and that helped bringing all these websites to life. Carl, what's take on it?
Absolutely, WordPress 100% of the time. And the reason I say that is I'm a programmer, but I can spin up WordPress and put a theme on there and sling together 5 or 6 plugins and usually get exactly what I want done without having to program. And that's a bonus. Now, yeah, I still write some WordPress plugins and stuff like that, but those are for oddball situations that nobody but me would run into. When I'm helping companies, I'm helping a photographer, an underwater photographer right now, put together or think through their business so that they can start planning it. And the first thing I've said is, okay, we're going to start with WordPress. We're going to start with WooCommerce. Those are the building blocks we're going to build on. So every time that would change if I find a situation where there's a better tool to do the job. But so far, I've not found a better tool to do the job, so I'm sticking with WordPress.
Cool. That's WordPress again. I believe that even when you're a programmer, it makes your life easier. I would say changing even an image in a piece of code is way different than using a CMS like WordPress for sure. Monzo, what would you recommend?
Well, I think one of the the way to answer this is it depends, right? It depends.
Always.
Because, of course, with my heart, I always choose WordPress. I belong to the WordPress community. I work for a hosting company specialized in WordPress. So I would say always WordPress and WooCommerce. But it's true that there are people with no knowledge, no time for this, and sometimes there are not better, because they are not better, but there are more accurate solutions like Wix or Shopify, where you really need a no-code, absolutely no-code solution. Of course, there are different in many aspects. They are not so open. Of course, they are not open. They have no so plugins or templates or whatever you need. Maybe, yes, they have, but not so many as WordPress. Mm-hmm. So if someone doesn't have time and knowledge, maybe WordPress can be their second step, going into a more complete solution. If not, they have other type of solution, more simple to manage, because people normally they don't have time. They use not having time or need a budget for a developer or a company. That's
yeah.
That's
it all comes down to what are your needs and how knowledgeable are with technology, and if you have the time to learn or you have the money to have someone to build it for you, I believe.
I feel there's a learning curve no matter which tool you use. I have tested all of them, and we regularly do, no matter whether it's Webflow or Wix or Shopify or no matter what, there's always going to be a learning curve. And I feel it's almost, if we were teaching someone who's new, we would be doing them a disservice of saying you should use something like a Wix or another solution for that matter. Because, if we want to help people make the right decision, let's help them make the right decision. And it's almost always going to be WordPress.
Thank you, guys. Deciding on a site building app can be overwhelming as there is a learning curve, though WordPress should be a pretty decent option to get started as it comes with enough tools that most SMB owners can leverage easily. So now I have the following question for you. What about the must-have elements for any small business and e-commerce site alike? And again, let's start with the ladies. Aleyda?
Yes, I will say that potentially the one element that should be present and independently of the type of website is definitely you need to communicate what you do. So you do need to have at least a landing page there. Explaining what you're offering and what's the value of it, the price or a little bit like the price range or the value of it, and then on the other hand a contact form so people can get in touch with you, and then you can follow up. You can provide a service or the product, right? I will say that this is like pretty much the fundamental. Then, of course, if you have an online store and you have many products and different product lines and categories and brands, etc., then of course you want to. You definitely need a proper navigation that allows you to go through your web structure. You want to have a proper web structure too that allows you to and facilitates the users to reach and to go through the different type of offerings that you have. If it is also very complex, you also want an internal search feature for the user to easily find whatever they're looking for. So you can add much more, of course, but I will say like the pre-minimum, I will say like the main landing page explaining what you do, and then a contact form to get in touch with you.
Great. I definitely second you on the contact form. It's an amazing way to keep in touch with your visitors. And also a landing page is definitely a must. Syed, do you want to add up something?
Yeah, I would say along this line, anything that enhances user experience, right? So I would say UXO, user experience optimization, which helps the user, get to the goal. And in case of the website, it's always to convert, right? Whether it is to get a subscriber or a lead or a sale. Anything that goes along the line with that, you guys mentioned all the essential elements. I would add maybe an email newsletter or a push notification platform, maybe like a Push Engage or even SMS notification, because you need a way to connect with your visitors after they leave, and majority of the people leave your website and they never come back. The number is north of 70% in some websites' cases. 97% of the people that leave your website will never return. So having a way to stay in touch with that user after they leave, I would say is a pretty must-have element, along with all the stuff that y'all already mentioned.
Great. A newsletter is definitely a surefire way to keep up with your followers. And I also agree that every way that you can enhance the user experience and help them achieve their goal is beneficial for both you as a small business and your users, providing a value to them. And Cal, what's your take?
As a content creator, that's what I do. I love that. Newsletters are my go-to tool. I'm sorry, email lists are my go-to tool. I agree with Syed. These should be foundational. Social's great, but I use social to feed into my email list. My email list is my list, and I can say whatever I want. Like today, I sent one out to one of my mailing lists for scuba divers on Apple's new Apple Watch Ultra, because it's now a dive computer, and a lot of people are going, should we buy this? And so I ran it down for them. But that's my list. I posted on Facebook and I posted on Twitter that I've done this, but not the intimacy of that mailing list. And so I think any business should be the must-have tool is a good mailing list, and of course a good mailing list manager. Whichever one you choose that's working for you, that's the right one.
Thanks for the awesome tip. And Moncho, do you want to add something?
Yes, agreeing with everyone else because they are experts and they know what they are saying. Of course, there is something I like to add. It's also related to user experience. No, the most important thing is the important content should be not more long than 2 clicks away. So in order to make thinking the users, make it simple, clear. So call to actions I think are really important. And of course, websites should be fast and secure. So it's not a kind of element, but a spirit of the website. No, always thinking in the user experience and how to get the information or our objectives done in the minimum clicks possible. That's my key for this.
Thank you, guys. For the next question, now the business is already running, and we are getting sales, we're getting our product out there, we're growing, but now we need to know what tools you guys recommend for scaling an online business. I believe sometimes growing, and if you grow fast, might be difficult sometimes how to manage it. We would like to hear what tools you guys recommend for scanning an online business. Aleyda, if you like to start.
Yes, sure thing. So I will say that potentially a couple of tools that will help any business to scale independently of the business model again will be, on one hand, marketing automation tools. And many of these tools, especially now that you have mentioned WordPress, for example, there are many plugins out there that can provide this automation. Like, for example, HubSpot has plugins, Constant Contact, Active Campaign. So these are tools that will allow you to easily follow up with your customers, analyze the experience. If at some point some of your users leave a landing page pretty much before converting, for example, you can easily see and follow up and configure an automation to follow up, things like that, right? So also like to collect and develop your audience with forms that you can easily create to follow up via newsletter, for example, or do offerings in a similar way through email marketing too. So this marketing automation tools will allow you to do this and much more. So I will say to assess, again, depending on the platform that you have chosen. If you have chosen, for example, WordPress, you have a wealth of integrations with some of the top marketing automation platforms out there on one hand, and then on the other hand, with website builders, they will try to integrate here and there also features, marketing automation features too. Then on the other hand, as a SEO myself and also marketer myself, I will also recommend using, like, for example, a marketing analysis tool, like, for example, SEMrush, which is the one that I use myself, in order to better assess which are the keywords that are bringing more traffic already to your website from an organic search standpoint, and also from a paid perspective too. If you're also doing paid search, social media, they also have a social media option and functionalities for you to develop your presence through social media too. So they have all this wealth of features that will easily allow you to start leveraging as much as possible, even if as a solo business, right? If you're small still, but is an all-in-one platform that has the top features for pretty much most of almost all online channels there. So you can start maximizing the opportunities and visibility through them.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think marketing automation and some sort of a CRM would be great to start dealing with the amount of customers you're getting. Syed, what would you be recommending to a client or to a person that is growing their online presence?
Sure. I always say to our founders and our leaders in the company is that you cannot improve what you cannot measure. And when we're looking at scaling, insights matter a lot. And if you're a website owner, then I would say something like a Google Analytics and Monster Insights plugin for WordPress is the first place you start. Because to scale your business, you have to know your visitors in a whole new way. You have to see exactly how people are finding and using your website. And what this does, it helps you focus on the content and products that matter the most, instead of just every single thing. You look at, that 90% of your traffic is going to these 8 pages on your website, and perhaps improving the conversion rate on that will lead to far better results than creating 50 new pages, right? And with Monster Insights, you can see all the important metrics in one. So that would be my number one pick. But then the second thing when we're looking at scaling is majority of the website traffic comes from search engines. So SEO is very, very, very important. And as Aleyda mentioned, SEMrush is an amazing resource, market insights analytics tool. It lets you do keyword research on your competitors, and do tons and tons of data. Like nobody even uses 5% of SEMrush. It's such a powerful tool. So I highly recommend that. We use it a lot. I also recommend using All-in-One SEO, which is a free WordPress plugin. There's some other things, from scaling perspective. When you're looking to scale, that means you already have a product. You already have found what sort of is working. Now you have to do a lot of testing and optimization. So you can use something like a Seed Prod, which is a landing page builder that lets you do dynamic personalization. So on different, you can try different offers, different PPC ads, and so on. You can use the tool like Opt-in Monster for boosting conversion rate and the average page value, and so on. But really, it has to start with, you cannot improve what you cannot measure. So measuring everything is the first step to scaling.
Yep, I agree. The more you measure twice, got once, I think it is. But yeah. Carl, what's take on it?
I'm going to assume that everybody listening is smart enough to go ahead and follow my advice and have installed WordPress now. So the second plugin I install on every WordPress site I built in the past 5 years is Yoast SEO, and that it does so much. Actually, it's one of the few plugins I actually pay for this. It is a great tool. Of course, the very first plugin I install after I install WordPress is the SiteGround security one. But these days, since all my sites are on SiteGround, that one's automatic for me. But that doesn't help me scale. That just keeps me secure so I can scale. But Yoast is just a phenomenal tool for me. Beyond that, you got to understand, as a developer, especially an open source developer, I am cheap. Okay, I don't like paying for things when I don't have to, and I don't like paying a lot for things that I can get cheap. And HubSpot is a great tool. I've got friends working there. They are a fantastic company, but I have found that for me, for what I need to do, which is broadcast a message out to my different social channels, I found a tool called Hello Woofy. Okay, seriously, stupidest name for an app I've ever seen. But HelloWoofy.com, it does the job. It's $150 a year. I'm cheap. I go for that. It's doing the job. So those are the two tools I have.
Cool. Monzo, something to add?
Well, one of the things of answering the last of the list is that not too much else to say, but yes, there are some things to say. I agree with all of you, starting with the data, starting with we cannot improve what is not measured. So options like mastering Google Analytics or using tools like Matomo that gives you 100% data ownership, that is a trend now, are important. So we need to measure, we need to know what is happening around us. In the second term, something important that this is infrastructure that I recommend always to use hosting providers that has a variety of products in order to avoid further migrations when your business is growing a lot. So you need a hosting provider with many data centers, CDN points all over the world, specific tools for improving websites and security, things that helps you in the daily basis, but in the critical moments that are important. And at the same time, we are always thinking on scaling the website or what we are doing. But sometimes when the business grows, also grows the team with it. So there is a need of automation processes automation, paying attention to the internal processes and how the information flows inside the company. So tools like Jira, Zapier, Slack, or productivity tools like Asana are important in order to grow in a good way.
I'll say Slack as well, if people use it.
Yeah.
From this section, I think we can say that the SEO, marketing automation, CRMs, and tools like SEMrush, we will make sure to pile all these tools and put them together in social media, so everyone that is attending the Twitter space tonight or today will have it at hand to try them out.
Thank you, Lucas. Actually, I'm using some of these tools on my personal site, and I can confirm the intelligence coming from them helped me a great deal to personalize my content and drive more traffic. And of course, having a hosting partner that can handle this traffic is also a must. So I can't wait to test some of the more tools and features that you just mentioned. But before that, can you just share with me which marketing channels are fundamental when marketing a small business online? Aleyda, do you want to start?
Yes, sure thing. So of course, as an SEO myself, I would say SEO, but realistically, I would say SEO not only because I'm an SEO myself, but because I do believe that many businesses, because they don't take, I would say SEO best practices, SEO principles into consideration right from the start, later on have major challenges when they are actually ready to launch a proper SEO strategy. They don't need to launch an SEO strategy necessarily right at the beginning, right? There are many more priorities potentially at that point. However, when building the website, developing their website structure, navigation, etc., right? I do believe that there's real value there to have an SEO specialist or at least a web developer that really knows well SEO in order to whatever development features are implemented, developed on the website. SEO best practices are taken into consideration. So later on in the process, when they are actually really ready to launch an SEO strategy, it's easy for them to do so instead of having to redo their website from scratch. They actually didn't do it right at the beginning when it was so straightforward at that point, right? So, for example, things to avoid, like developing single page applications, right? Like that each page generates a real indexable URL, things like that. For example, a navigation that relies on CSS and HTML, but standards, really, links that are href tags rather than generated with non-crawlable JavaScript, things like that, right? And yes, Google now has the capacity to render client-side JavaScript, but also there are certain challenges. So I will highly recommend whenever you're starting to at least when you're developing your website structure and you're putting actual investment on your website, to have an SEO to at least validate that the building blocks are there. So it's easier later on. Then, of course, after SEO, and I would say like keyword research within the SEO process is super valuable, not only for SEO, but actually to understand when you still don't have internal data yet, how your audience is looking for your products or services, right? And which are the areas that might be more worthy to enable right away, to prioritize, how to position yourself versus your competitor. You can do a benchmark also using leveraging keyword data from SEO tools right out there, for example, again, from SEMrush, for example. So you can definitely leverage these different activities that you do, not only for SEO, but also they can be highly valuable for you to develop a better website. Then on the other hand, I will say that creating your mailing list is super valuable, and I will highly recommend to start right away. Again, like SEO, right? This other, I will say, own organic channel that you can start right away with, to communicate, to build your audience, to build your community, to engage with your community, to ask for feedback, to launch offers. So again, I will say that potentially SEO and then email marketing in a way that doesn't necessarily right at the beginning needs to be like full email marketing type of strategy, but collecting and starting with your email list is something that I again will highly recommend to do right away.
Yes, indeed. SEO done right from the start helps us avoid situations where we suddenly feel the urge to improve our site SEO to be relevant. Aleyda was quite exhaustive on the topic, so maybe we can hear Syed also and then move on to the next question.
Yes. Yeah, organic search is by far the biggest source of traffic, because when you think about you're looking for a restaurant near you or looking to buy your internet router, you're going to go to Google and you're going to type. So SEO is number one. But I would say anything where people are searching. So YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So videos, I would say, are pretty important, and they go hand in hand. It actually helps you improve your Google rankings as well. But aside from attracting, I look at marketing channels as an attract and then connect or engage. So from an attract focus, that will be the organic search. And then the connect, I would say a lesser known marketing channel that I feel small businesses don't tap into enough is push notifications. So these are the little things when you go to a CNN.com or something like this, it will say on your browser, allowed to receive notifications from this website. Those push notifications, I would say, work equally as good, if not better, than email marketing. And that will be a lesser known tip that not as many small businesses take advantage of.
That's definitely an interesting remark. Thank you. I think a lot of people will appreciate this tip.
We were discussing, I think at the beginning, one of the questions, Carl mentioned the email list, and then Aleyda as well, that how important is building an email list so you have control of your own customers or leads, right? So what would you be the tips that you would give to start an email marketing, and what is the best way to grow your subscribers? I think those are the most important questions when doing an email list: how to start and how to make sure that you keep growing that list. What would you say if it would be, Aleyda?
I would say that very straightforward, right? On one hand, I would want to not develop this intrusive approach that I see many websites have, like having this full screen interstitial, not allowing your users sometimes even to browse without subscribing to your list, right? But be very natural with it, like including your subscribing box within those articles or communications that you do on your website, that you launch on your website. Also following up with your customers or clients after they have, for example, bought something, saying, hey, do you want to keep alerted for a new offer for similar products come up, and then invite them to subscribe to their channel. So this can be embedded, very well integrated within the workflow that you have with the user journey, in a way that is not intrusive, in a way that is actually attractive and makes sense and appealing to the user. That is definitely a must.
Yeah, that's great. I believe given give something of value, then tell them, well, be clear, we're gonna give you more of this content or more of this product. So do you want to know more? Do you want to know when we release more? So I believe that's the way. Syed, what would be your take on this email marketing?
I have quite a bit of insights on email marketing, considering we have several million subscribers in our email list. Uh, I would just use a plugin like Opt-in Monster. I'm biased because I created the plugin, but it is what I use on all our subscribers, and it helps you get more subscribers by converting abandoning visitors. But I will share four tips here that might be really helpful. Number one is exit intent. Okay, this is the thing that you see when your user starts taking the mouse to exit the website, and you see a pop-up or interstitial. It works. Some people might think it's really annoying, but the reality of the matter is that user was going to leave. And by showing them a targeted offer, it has to be a good and targeted offer, right? If your offer is not good, it's not going to work. But it converts 2% of the subscribers, users into subscribers. Okay, that's number one. Second tip is content upgrades. So I was mentioning earlier, right? Analytics is really important. You have to know what, you cannot improve what you cannot measure. For vast majority of the websites, you will notice that 90% of the traffic is going to 10% of the pages. Usually it is the 10 pages on your website. Maybe it is your most popular blog and so on. So in those blog posts, what I recommend is creating a lead magnet. Maybe it's an ebook, maybe it's a checklist, maybe it's a worksheet, or some sort of freebie that is specific for that blog post or page, right? Maybe you have 12 tips to get more traffic, and then 5 bonus tips that you will only be able to get if you subscribe. And then what you do is you add that little call to action in the middle of your blog post, toward the top or at the bottom of your blog post, or both places. And then you make it a click. When the user clicks that link, it will open a pop-up and they can enter the name and email, get access to this content upgrade. Now, what I have seen, and we regularly see this on Opt-in Monster Insights, is that you can see upwards of like 700% increase on your page's conversion. If you don't have a lead magnet and then you put in a content upgrade, it will work really well. And then the third and fourth tip that I would suggest in this, that we see working really well across our user base, is on-site retargeting and on-site follow-up campaigns. So a lot of businesses will give too much money to Google and Facebook for retargeting ads, but what you got to realize is you can do on-site retargeting. So let's say that somebody came to your website and then they left and they came. There are ways to targeting that customer using a tool like Opt-in Monster. And what you can do is then you can say, hey, welcome back. Consider joining our list, so you can get updates. And then they will join that. And on-site follow-ups are in a similar way. Maybe you can say, when somebody visits this page on my website and this page on my website, I should give them a follow-up. So maybe they're already a subscriber to your email list, and then they come back and then they visit 1 or 2 pages, then you can give them an exclusive discount or coupon, right? So those are great ways to boost conversion and get more subscribers.
Perfect. Thank you. I hope someone was taking notes of those 4 tips. If not, we'll take notes afterwards and give them to them. But I think that's a very important way. Carla, I know you mentioned email marketing before. How did you do as a content creator, right? Because you're focused on your content as well. How do you grow your list?
I have found that the absolute number one way to grow my list is to stand on the street corner with a stack of $10 bills and trade them for your email address. Now that is guaranteed to work every time, but it's a very expensive way to do it. So short of that, I usually invest my time in creating compelling content. And Syed hit the nail on the head. And I hate following Syed, okay? Because every time it's like, of course Syed gets it right, but having a good lead magnet, and those aren't nearly as hard to create as people think they are. You can look at the questions your customers are asking. I told you I did the Apple Watch, and I'm considering turning that into a lead magnet because it's hot topic among scuba divers right now. But I wrote the email initially because I was on a dive boat Saturday, and 3 people out of 20 came up and asked me about it. So if 3 people out of 20 that are experienced divers are asking, maybe this is something that people want to know. So look around at the questions that you're being asked. I guarantee you can put together something, stuff it in a PDF, and in Monster to create a landing page for that and start getting those things out there. Another way that I do it, and I'm not ashamed to say this, I run campaigns on social media, and I find them to be very effective. I can usually my names come in for less than right around 60 cents per subscriber. So and that's doable for me. So I run short campaigns on social media about once a month just to boost my subscription, and it does work. Now, you got to be careful. You can end up spending a lot of money and getting absolutely nothing. I've done that too. Back when I was trying to market to developers, I ran Facebook ads. Turns out there's not a lot of developers on Facebook. The PHP developers that I know, they all hang out on Twitter. So you got to figure out where your market is. But scuba divers hang out on Facebook, so that's where I end up running most of my ads there. Those are the ways that I build my list, and then compelling content. And yes, I have pop-ups on every page that says, "Have you subscribed to my mailing list yet?"
Of course. Moncho, in SiteGround, on SiteGround Spain, how do you grow your subscriber list, or how do you start doing it?
Well, taking into account what people said during these minutes, I prefer, if you mind, to make some tips for people that is starting their campaigns from scratch, their newsletter. So please pay attention to defining well your audience. The better data you have from them, better results you are going to have. Segmentation, it's really important. So if you don't have any data for your customers, it happens. Maybe you can think on a marketing campaign to collect leads or to add extra information to those leads. And not too much else, taking into account what people said. So good content, good segmentation, and good schedule. Don't send too much emails because, try. No, there are A/B test tools to test these kind of things. So just that: audience segmentation, good content, and A/B test in order to know what is better for your audience.
Can I share one more thing?
Of course.
If you're just starting out, I just thought of it. I didn't mention. You can use giveaways, and it works really well. You don't have to give $10 to every person to subscribe. Okay, I'll tell you. Like, I launched a blog, and I basically said I will give $25 Amazon gift cards. For people who my contest, which wasn't, a lot of money, considering the amount of subscribers I have. So I spent like $625 plus for a giveaway tool, maybe like $700 or so, and ended up getting 30,000 subscribers, because what ended up happening was that it had a viral factor, right? So you could earn more entries in my contest by referring your friends to join the contest. And there are tons of plugins out there that will let you do that. Raffle Press is one of them. I bought that plugin. Raffle Copter is another. Gleam is another. But really, giveaways also work well.
Great. I think that's a great insight, and people will probably take that. Right, Galina, do you want to go with the next one? Guys, we are 10 minutes away from finishing the spaces today, so we are going to try and have 2 more questions answered by the experts, and then we will say goodbye to everyone in our first Twitter spaces. But let's, Galina, if you would like to go with the next question.
So just to wrap up what the speaker said, so besides collecting leads and growing the mail list, we should really think about nurturing our relationship with customers by providing them fresh and relevant content, as well as offers or promos to our channels. And again, thank you guys for the extremely helpful tips. Moving on, let's discuss how important is SEO and what's the best way to approach it. I know we've already mentioned SEO a couple of times, but compared to paid search, what are the benefits of the one versus the other? And also, when should a small business invest in paid search? Aleyda, since you're the expert on the matter, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure thing. So, and SEO and the difference with paid search is that SEO is actually investment on your website, whilst paid search is pretty much, yes, paying a third-party platform to bring you traffic, relevant traffic. Yes, it is, but you need to pay for every click that you get, right? With SEO, you're investing on your website accessibility, searchability, with best practices that nowadays 99% of the times will align with UX best practices when these are well done too. So it's an investment, right? So this is why I mentioned before that I believe that there was value to follow SEO best practices, at least the best practices in your web structure right at the start. Even if you're not ready to implement a full SEO strategy, for a full SEO strategy, you need to do an audience research, or research that we call competition analysis, a benchmark to understand how your audience search, and based on that to develop a strategy saying, okay, if my audience search in this way, what is the content, which are the pages, the content that I need to create to connect with that search, with that search behavior, and to offer my products or services in a way that actually is relevant towards it and is perceived to be more valuable, more comprehensive, more authoritative than the ones of all of those other pages are already ranking in the top positions in Google, right? Also, there's to SEO nowadays, it's not only ranking the top positions, but also making the most out of the different search features that Google has in their search results. So, for example, video carousels, if you're a local business, the Mac Pack, with Google My Business or Google Business, how it is called now, or if you're our online store, to specify structured data and generate your product feeds also to the Merchant Center, which can be done now for free, to generate your product carousels too, and even your product knowledge graph if you're a manufacturer, right? So that your ratings too, in case you allow reviews, so you can generate the ratings with the relevance to data. So it generate and incentivize the clicks from search results. So just all of this big list of actions to do, rather tactical actions indeed. But what it is important here is, rather than following a checklist, and you can find lots of checklists out there, is to that these are implemented in a way that actually makes sense to your business, because it will allow you to achieve a specific goal. So it actually follows a strategy for that. And what I highly recommend to people is to take a look at the website that I pulled together completely for free. I aggregated reliable SEO resources from the community and for free, and these are all free resources. That is called learningseo.io. It has a roadmap too, so all of these resources are collected and organized in a way that will allow you to easily find whatever resource you need based on your stage within the SEO process too, from keyword research, technical analysis, and optimization, content development, link building, monitoring, whatever, you have it there. So I will highly recommend to do that, because yes, it's free and is valuable. And I wouldn't say that I don't advise doing paid search. I do believe that paid search is valuable, especially like I will say that the biggest challenge with SEO is a long-term strategy. So especially at the beginning, if you really need customers right away, you cannot rely on that. And the beauty of it is that you can definitely leverage the paid search learnings later on within your SEO strategy too. Which are the products that independently that the search volume is not that high necessarily, they convert very well, and these are high value products for you. So you can leverage these learnings later on to your SEO process too, even if you start with search campaign.
Okay, great. So we can say with SEO, we make kind of a long-term investment that takes a lot of commitment, but perhaps comes with better returns than paid traffic. Syed, would you agree? And also, we'll make sure that we link the website that Aleyda just gave.
Yes, absolutely. I think SEO is an investment. Too often, businesses give up a lot quicker than they should. It takes about 7 to 8 months for you to see the results. So if you're investing in an SEO strategy, trust the process, as you're creating good content. Of course, you can if you're using a tool like All-in-One SEO, it will give you the featured snippets, its schema, local SEO, and blah, blah, blah. I want to touch the paid search topic because we haven't touched it enough. It's like when you want rice, you have two options. You can, invest and grow, put the rice field and try to grow it, which will take time, or you can go to the store and buy rice. And that's really what, paid search is. It does benefit, for SMBs, but you must track the ROAS, which is return on ad spend, carefully. Most small businesses have a small budget, and the default Google and Facebook ad reporting is quite missing. They both will try to take credit for the sales that you would have gotten otherwise, and this metric is shown by default as view through conversion. So someone may have seen your ad and then they bought it over the next 7 or 30 days, and Google thinks they did that, and a small business thinks that that's what really brought them when it didn't. And it leads to SMBs wasting a lot of money on PPC because they don't have good guidance, and a lot of agencies simply charge by the percentage of ad spend. So their incentives aren't aligned, right? Their incentive is to raise the ad spend, not the profitability. So that would be my one tip for small businesses. PPC work, you should definitely try it and use it because you get guaranteed customers, but just be mindful of this ROAS and keep track of that.
Okay, so experiment with pay-per-click, but also pay attention to the view-through rates. Perfect, great tip. And Cal, do you have any valuable tips for our listeners?
Yeah, I'm kind of the wrong person to ask about SEO. I wrote in 2007 on a blog post that the only really important thing to do to get good SEO is to write relevant content for your users. I don't write for search engines. I write for my actual users. More importantly, these days, not only Google, but every search engine uses some form of AI to present a personalized web page. So the concept of appearing on the front page of Google is a misnomer. Front page for who is the real question. My advice is the same thing I've been telling everybody. Be relevant. Write content for your users, write relevant content for your users. That will, by the way, improve your overall SEO. But because as people start, if you're writing for your users, as people start looking, they're going to start finding your content. But that's the most important thing to me is be relevant.
Great. This is something that we've touched upon a few more times in the chat. And Montre, do you want to add something before we move on with the last question?
Yes, of course. And of course, I agree with everyone said, starting with Aleyda. She's an expert on the matter, and I followed her for many years ago. It's a pleasure to have her here in the chat. Really important. SEO is when we are talking about someone that is starting a new business. It's really difficult for this person to have a complete, image, a complete picture of everything that SEO means. The more SEO you know, the wider, the bigger it is. So if you have budget enough, you can start learning the basic points, but trust an agency, trust a freelance, a SEO freelance to do this for you, because this is wide and big enough to take a big, serious part of your time. And when you are starting a business from scratch, it's really difficult to put an eye on everything that is happening around your brand. So that's my point, only this.
Perfect, Monto. I will have one more question, and then we will just finish the space for today. That question, and I will ask you guys if we can summarize as much as possible, so we don't have you here longer than we asked you already to be here. And this last question will be like, what would be the best way to monetize your small business website in 2022? Aleyda, would you like to start?
Your small business website, the best way to monetize it.
Yes.
It depends on what's your business model, right? Like if you are selling a product or service, is investing on selling more and in a marketing strategy to maximize that, very very likely, right? Then on the other hand, if you want to start a website from scratch and want to start monetizing, and I will say that potentially, rather than following the typical approach of adding a lot of ads on the website, a good potential approach will be to, for example, to build an affiliate business or generate affiliate value from the content that you develop. This is something that is beyond being an SEO myself. I also have a website that is called Remoters, and we feature their resources for remote professionals and businesses. And we have a couple of business models beyond having our job board that is freemium, for which we have. We provide the service to feature remote job board for a certain payment, right? On one hand, then on the other hand, like the biggest stream that we have is actually with affiliates, like reviewing, advising on product services that might be relevant, valuable for our audience. That on one hand. Then on the other hand, it's interesting for me because as an SEO consultant myself, my biggest stream of income, I would say, has been consulting business, and I do have really good consulting clients. However, interesting enough, since a couple of years ago that I developed better SEO promo that has now 22,000 subscribers, it has become in a very natural way a good, steady, alternate income stream for me because brands, products, software in SEO want to be featured there in adverts. Right, so that can be another interesting option, I would say. If you want to develop a website, you're not sure yet, can be the main business model for you. You can definitely start building an audience and monetizing by delivering value, advice, content, information in these two different ways.
Perfect. I believe that's a really complete answer. Syed needed to hop off at other arrangements, but Carl, what do you think? How would you monetize a website nowadays?
You know, if I knew that, I would be sitting on the beach drinking Mai Tais. No,
we wouldn't be in these two spaces.
That's a question I'm faced with a lot right now because, like I said, I've built a website and a mailing around scuba divers, but I don't have a product. Now, I do sell a little bit of training because I'm an instructor and stuff like that, but I am looking for a product. But I didn't wait until I could monetize it before I started building my site, my brand, and my website, because I will come up with a product. Actually, I've got a book in editing right now that I think will do pretty good to my mailing list, but I will come up with a product and I will be able to monetize. I prefer to monetize by selling products and services, not ads. That's a personal preference. That's nothing against ads or anything. That's just the way I prefer to do it. But I will do it. But I would say to anybody, don't wait until you know how you're going to monetize to start building, because by the time you get ready to monetize, if you've been building all this time, then you can immediately begin to sell your product, sell your service, or sell your ads.
It's lately, I think, more in it's more focused about creating community, right? You might not have the product or the service, but if you have the community, by the time you have the service or the product, then all you need to do is tell them, well, here it is, right?
Exactly.
So that's a good point. Moncho, what's your take on it? Let me just give Moncho again. I think he was out. He's now. Moncho, you're already again.
Well, my experience is related to brand ambassadors, influencers. So if you have a blog, if you have a specialization, good content, maybe one of the best ways to monetize it is through affiliation. I think affiliate marketing, it's your visitor trust you, and you trust the brand you want to advertise. So a relation that will work fine, and it's profitable for both sides. Also, sponsor posts, that could be a good idea. But it's true, if you have a product or a service, just focus on the content, do something really valuable for your customers, for your audience, and could be more than enough.
Great. So guys, this is the end of the Twitter Spaces. We will be, depending on what's the response from all our listeners, we'll be having more in the future. This is our first one, so if we made any mistakes, I ask you to forgive us, but I believe this was really useful for everyone. We'll be uploading the recording. Also, the recording will be available in Twitter for 30 days, so from today, so as soon as we finish today. And we'll be uploading it as well to YouTube, so you can review it. And we will also make a list with tools that the speakers mentioned, so you can try them out and see which ones work for you the best. I would like to thank all the speakers. Thank you, Aleyda. Thank you, Moncho. Thank you, Carl, as well. And thank you, Syed, even though he's not here anymore. Make sure to follow them all. They share valuable content on their social media profiles. And make sure to follow SiteGround if you don't follow SiteGround. We'll be creating more content and more valuable insights for creating websites and growing your business online.